All right, the club is back after a little hiatus last week. We got a special guest tonight, Krutches, someone I've been following on Twitter, getting up to all kinds of interesting stuff in the crypto space, including a boxing match. So we're going to learn all about that. We got to catch up on the SBF FTX drama. And of course, we'll rip some of these underdog drafts. Let's do it. All right, here we go. Andy, still in Connecticut. Every week, I'm wondering, have you been freed from the state of Connecticut?
Yeah. We finally have a bit of an end in sight, seeming like second week of December or so. We should actually be moved in. So, at this point, not going to hold my breath, but there's like some pretty finite like legal documents that we're planning to sign that week, and so assuming I sign those, it should be good.
There you go. We got our special guest tonight, Krutches. You guys might know him on Twitter as McDonaldsXBT. But let me just first ask, tell me the story with this McDonald's bit. Like, I thought it was a bit, and now I'm starting to think you do eat McDonald's like every other meal.
Yeah, no, I try not to LARP. I post my meals on Twitter. But I don't know. It's kind of natural. In college, I just ate a lot of McDonald's as a poor college kid, and like never really got fat off of it. Like I'm smart about what I eat there for the most part. That's like the thing people don't get. But yeah, so yeah, I would eat a lot of McDoubles and a lot of diet soda. It's kind of like my vice in life. But I just work out outside of that and try not to get fat. And then yeah, I've kind of just kept doing it through bull runs and bear markets. I just eat McDonald's. So yeah.
Okay, so give us like, what's the alpha? What's the go-to order at McDonald's? What are the secret hacks to eat McDonald's and stay in shape?
Yeah. So for one, I eat 2 meals a day. It's just kind of out of laziness. I also like in college did like the intermittent fasting thing a little bit. But like my go-to order is like 3 McDoubles, no pickles, no onions, and a Diet Dr. Pepper. It has like 70 grams of protein and like 1,200 calories. Yeah, there you go. And then McFlurry when I'm feeling fat. But yeah, it's like 1,200 calories. And then if you eat like rice and chicken for dinner, that's another like 700, 800. And then that's like 2,000 calories. You can eat more than that realistically, but yeah.
So that like, I still do my intermittent fasting and stuff, but the one thing I never ended up doing was like the specifically counting calorie stuff. I don't know. I mean,
it works really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't count calories. But I've also like done a similar diet, like, and I just know what I'm eating. If I ever feel like I start like gaining weight, then like I'll just like start logging them for like a week or two on like MyFitnessPal. Not a sponsor, but like but it's like I know what I eat, and like I know as long as I'm weighing the same, like I'm lifting every day, so I like have an idea of what I weigh, and like I kind of I'm pretty Clay, I see you in the comments. I don't really eat enough vegetables probably, but I take multivitamins and all that supplementation. So not as much as I should, but maybe this week when I'm at mom's house for Thanksgiving,
There you're not bringing McDonald's takeout to the Thanksgiving table. You're not that much of a sicko.
It depends. So yeah, my mom. Another fun story. My parents are like weird, like keto, and like they even do. My mom does like carnivore, where she just eats meat. It's wild. So sometimes I will they eat very like they don't eat a lot of carbs and stuff. So I end up just like picking out at their house too. So I will get like McDonald's at my parents' house. It keeps going nonstop.
Andy, any good food out there in that Connecticut house? Is it Allie's parents? They whipping you up some good stuff?
Nothing too crazy. They go out to eat most nights. Neither of our parents really like cooking. We've been doing this like chicken parm lately. That like isn't breaded chicken, but just like chicken breast with like some pesto and sauce and cheese, which has been pretty good. Nothing too much. Definitely something I miss. Like whenever I go to New York, I'm like, all right, we got to go out and have some good food, because there just isn't quite that many nice places in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut.
Yeah, I know. The further you're out in the burbs, the less options there are. I had put on Twitter, Krutches, last night that I had that BK jingle in my head, and one take that we definitely share is like I at my old house, I was like a stone's throw from a Burger King, and I think I went there once the like 7 or 8 years I lived there. Like I just cannot get an appetite for Burger King. Whereas if I had a McDonald's, a quarter mile from my house, I probably would have been there a decent amount.
Yeah, me and my buddy have like a running meme that's like the only job requirement to get a job at like Burger King is to get rejected from McDonald's. Like it's so second tier that like it's that bad. I'll eat one thing at Burger King and it's like the Hershey pies, but it's
Oh,
also they
okay.
don't make them there. It's just like pre-boxed and like but those things bang. But like I'll get it on the way home from McDonald's sometimes, like on my drive from the gym.
So tell me about this boxing match, because I want to say an inaugural run of this happened. What was it, last year when like Luke Martin fought? Was that this same like organizational group or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. So their goal was to kind of like keep it rolling through the through the good times and bad. So it was definitely a different vibe this year, but it wasn't any worse, I would say. The venue was smaller, but it wasn't like bad. It was much more intimate to where it was like less seats. It wasn't like a stadium venue, but it was like this nightclub with like, but it was just sick, like all the decorations and stuff in there, and like everything was really quality. They had all the same broadcast quality, all the announcers there. A good amount of celebrities in the house. I know Deji was like one of their kind of guests of honor there. He was fighting the day after against like Floyd or whatever in one of those YouTube fights. But it was a good time. It was a good week. But yeah, same organizers as last year, but a lot more fights this time.
So who did you fight? Did you have actually a history with them? Did you have a beef with this person, or were you just randomly paired to like bring a card together?
Yeah, so that's like the only negative I would say is I didn't have beef with them. I didn't know who they were before I like found out I was fighting them.
Okay.
So yeah, they're like a local from Dubai. So they were kind of like friends with a lot of the organizers, and so I think they wanted to fight, and they needed someone that was like similar, height and weight to myself. Although he came in like a little lighter than me, but yeah, I originally started some beef with one of these guys I hate on Twitter, and had got them.
Go ahead, say names.
Okay, Ultra XBT. He's got me blocked now. He's a total like scamming piece of shit. But I had agreed to like I just riled him up enough to agree to fight me. But like the organizers were like, he's never gonna show. He's like a serial like just piece of crap.
Like
so
yeah.
they're like, we can't risk it with the organizers like having this guy no show. So we're gonna have you fight this guy. So like ideally, I would fight someone I like more motivated to train for that I want to like knock out. But it was good. Like we created a little bit of like manufactured beef between us the week of the fight, just from weigh-ins and stuff like that. So it was a good time anyway. We were pretty locked in. So.
And do you like, what is your background as far as have you gone to boxing gyms? Have you sparred, or was this just like, this seems like a fun opportunity, let me train and do this?
Yeah, I think I found out that I was fighting him in like April. And that was like the first time I got a gym membership at an MMA gym and just like started messing around with like jiu-jitsu and boxing. But yeah, I didn't do any training before that. And I asked him too at the time. I want to say he didn't really box before that either. So it was kind of a good like challenge for sure to train for about 6-7 months. Before that, I mean, I did like no cardio before that. So, but yeah.
What did you get a personal trainer to set you up, or were you just kind of training yourself at the gym?
So they do like, I kind of went to like classes, I guess. I didn't have like my own like personal trainer just for me. But yeah, I ended up switching gyms. I went to like an MMA gym at first and then switched to like a proper boxing gym. And that was really helpful because the classes were like it was like a boxing team. So like it was kind of a class, but it was only for people who were like wanted to like fight actively. So it was like much more serious than like a fitness class. But it was cool. He was definitely tough on me. I mean, I would spar and like he would have me go 6 rounds, even though my fight was like, I thought it was 4 and then I found out it was 3. But I would go like 6 rounds and I would want to quit cardio wise. I'd just be getting beat up in there. And he's just like, you want to be a boxer, don't you? I'm like, well, yeah, I guess so. So it was good, but yeah, it wasn't like one-on-one training either.
It's not, I don't know if people like realize it. Like my cardio is pretty good. And when I'll do like a round of sparring, and I haven't done it in a while, but just how gassed you get is just insane. It's just, you would think like, oh, these micro movements, like bobbing around on your feet, like, oh, not a big deal. And you are just absolutely gassed. Even if your cardio is like pretty good, it's like a whole different level of cardio.
Yeah. Yeah. And I came into it, in April, like my background is like, I played football and all this stuff like before. And then, but for the last like 3-4 years, probably since college, like it's just been like weightlifting. So I did like Olympic weightlifting for a while, like pretty competitively. So I got like strong base under me and stuff, but I did zero cardio. Like I shit on cardio all the time. Like I'm one of those guys. And
you got to join the Underdog Cardio Club.
Yeah.
I also shit on cardio. I hate cardio.
Exactly. So I literally started like in the summer because I'm a big golfer too now. And like, I started with like, instead of driving golf carts, I was like, I'm going to walk with my bag and I'll start that to like set some cardio. And then I started running like 3-4 months out of the fight. But yeah, I mean, I'd run like, interval kind of stuff on the treadmill, like 2-3 times a week. And then like one long run of like 3 miles or more. But yeah, when you get in the ring, it's just totally different. I mean, it's just, plus the adrenaline dump on fight night is like, they always talk about it, but like you can't simulate it in training. Like, you just have like cotton mouth the first round, like your mouth is dry and I'm in between rounds, like he's pouring me water. I'm like, can I get more? Can I get more? Like, so yeah, if you actually watch the fight, it's on YouTube. But like after this second round, I was way more gassed. Like at the end of the third round, I was like ready for a fourth basically. And you could see it in the fight too. He gassed a lot before me. So.
Will you DM me the link? I'll pull it up here in a second. Andy, weren't like the first time, I want to say when they were organizing this first one, you were like contemplating like going down there, or you had like some interest?
Yeah, well, I had said that I would box Blue Kirby, but I don't think he was ever serious about it. I think that he would have smoked me. Granted, the last one I was in better shape than I am now, but he's in very good shape. Although I have like probably 6 inches on him, so that would help me.
Yeah, Krutches, was there like an element when they're like, hey, there's a difference between like some guy who is like a jackass on Twitter and being like, yeah, he's probably not a ringer, but like if these guys are like, yeah, we got this guy in Dubai, we're gonna have you fight. Like, is there some hesitation of like, what if this guy is just a crusher?
Yeah, I mean, so like Rookie XBT is like the guy who kind of set up my fight with this guy. And so like, I know he wouldn't want to set up like a bad fight, but
yeah,
he seemed like genuine, as far as what he was saying, but yeah, closer to it, it was a little weird because a lot of the people like I know on crypto Twitter. So at least I know, like, I don't know how they fight, but I know their personality, all this kind of stuff. And him, I just knew literally nothing about until like he started posting a couple like hype videos closer to the fight. And like, not to shit on him, but like I wasn't like as impressed as I thought I was going to be with like his hype videos. And so, just like form wise, like when I broke it down, obviously it's like 10-second clips that are edited down. So it's like barely you can tell, but, I felt more confident closer to the fight and he was pretty cocky. So like, I don't know, the more cocky someone is too, I feel like it's like, all right, like they're covering for something. So, the day before the fight at weigh-ins, I was like, I had read an article, like write up they did, like they took from each of us. And his thing was like, what do you expect out of him in the fight? And he was like, the only thing he's going to see is like the bottom of the mat or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, cool. So at weigh-ins, I was like, all right, he's getting a little cocky, so I'm gonna have to knock him out. And then they interviewed him at weigh-ins and he was like, he's too slow. He's not even gonna be able to touch me. So it was a little bit like good vindication to like get the win and like tag him up with a lot more power than he had on me. So.
Yeah, it's like, with crypto Twitter, like, hey, these guys are probably at their computer, like, 20 hours a day, like staring at a screen. Like that sets like a baseline level. I'm not going to be super afraid of this guy being like absolutely shredded, but I would have been a little nervous about the black box nature of like, who is this random guy they paired me up with? So it's nice that you got a good fight.
Yeah. Second round, like I said, second round was the one. I think like first round is pretty clearly me, especially at the end of the first round. And then second round, like watching it back, I'm like, I came out, I think I was like trying to manage my energy. So it was a little flat. And then third round was I definitely all me. And I heard him a couple of times, I think, even though he probably won't admit it. Like there's once I hit him in the body, you can see him just kind of like sit there and not move in the corner for a while. And my coach was yelling, like you could hear him on the video, like on the broadcast. He's like, you heard him. Like, but yeah, it's interesting. And I think Trader Main on the broadcast, like in round one, they're doing like the fun facts and they like say the McDonald's stuff about me. And then this kid, they're like, his birth name is Muhammad Ali, and all the announcers are like, is this real? Because like I should have known this going into the fight. Like I might have bet against.
Yeah, it feels like important information.
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
I need to know this ahead of time.
So the other thing like I'm fascinated about is just how this all comes together, because like once a year, and because you hang out on DFS Twitter too, we'll get like the beefs, and it seems like we're gonna get a boxing match, and yet everyone's like, this is never going to happen. One, because there's like actual like laws and legislation, you got to get licenses and all that in the States. Like how did someone like pull this off? It seems like an organizational like massive undertaking to make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you. I didn't organize it, but round one was like the meme was like "Ring It Up Mo." So like I think it's like Abuela97 on Twitter. I don't know the exact spelling, but Mo on Twitter, he's like an absolute like king. Dude is a legend. So as far as I know, like I wasn't at the first one, but he like put it kind of together with the help, I'm sure, of a lot of people. This time there was like a bunch of guys I can shout out that were involved. Like Mo and Rookie like helped kind of put it on, but kind of who guys I was communicating with the most were with like this guy Rahul, Reggie, and then Jay. They're all like three of the guys who were organizing it with them. But yeah, I mean, it was huge. I mean, just putting the whole venue together the day of, like I was at the hotel and like walking around to try to like get a feel for the ring and everything ahead of time. And it's just like people in and out with like carts and lights and like music and DJs and like all this stuff. And it's just like, yeah, it's huge. But yeah, the meme was like "Ring It Up Mo." Every time people had beef, they was like "Ring It Up Mo" and like tag him. And then he like actually made the first fight night happen. So it was pretty wild. But yeah, it's a lot, from getting sponsors to figuring out, venue, all this kind of stuff, coordinating. Yeah. I mean, there's pro fights on this card too. A lot of pro fights that were really good fights. So yeah, I mean, it was crazy.
That seems like an incredible experience. So props for just like jumping in there, training. Like, again, as someone who's done just a little bit of sparring, like it is a very nerve-wracking thing. So I can't even imagine, being on, having this all filmed, knowing that all of your peers on crypto Twitter are ready to roast you if you look like an idiot. So big ups for doing it.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Andy, so now after, kind of hearing how this all materializes, are you still down to get into the ring?
Oh yeah, I would totally do it. I had wanted to do boxing a while ago, but then I got a couple bad concussions playing football, and I was like, I just don't need to like fuck with my head for a while. I can chill out with that. But that was years ago, so I'm ready to fuck with my head again.
Who would be you said Kirby before. Is there a new beef? I mean, like, you're not a guy that beefs with too many people, but is there someone you wouldn't mind knocking out in the ring these days?
Let me think about it. I'm trying to think of someone who would be realistic to where like they would actually box me and are somewhat like the same size as me.
Like Beanie Maxi.
I mean, that'd be a blast. That'd be fun.
How many people would line up to want to fight Beanie if that was an option? I feel like you'd have a line around the block.
Yeah, as far it's like. I feel like I'm trying to think if there's anyone who I like actually would want to fight who is around the same size as me, where it would be like a fair like weight thing. Like that's the other thing is, I'm certainly not the skinniest I've ever been, but even like when if I was to like really cut down to try to do it, I would probably weigh like 200 pounds. And so I don't know, I feel like most people on crypto Twitter are skinnier guys than I am. To find someone who would be a good match.
Krutches, what was like the biggest real beef as far as like one of the cards?
Yeah.
Was there a good one?
Yeah. It's kind of a funny dynamic because before the fight we have to kind of like play nice because we're all in like group chats together for like the organizers and stuff. But definitely Charles Reed and Roy. Like Roy had a lot of controversial projects that you can allege that he rugged and did stuff like that. So a lot of people don't like Roy, myself included, and so like pretty much it was like the entire arena rooting for Charles Reed in that fight. And I don't know if you know Ice Bags Pete, but he's hilarious. And fun story: the day after the fight, I like wake up, check Telegram in like the fighters group that we have, and it's just like GM everyone except for Roy, like, fuck you, scammer. And then like 2 seconds later, you see like Roy left the group, and it was just like, it was so
Wow.
funny. Like, yeah. So that was definitely the best like beef that we had.
And who won that one?
Charles Reed, but like props to Roy. He actually showed up and like fought really well, but like it was good. Like he had this massive cut above his eye and was just bleeding everywhere. And like Charles Reed was bleeding out of his nose. Like it was a war, but Charles definitely like overall won the fight.
That's crazy. That's great. And this was it in Dubai? Was that where it was?
Yeah, the fight was in Dubai. Yeah, same as last year. But yeah, organization wise, like you said, like this was like WBC sanctioned. So like I imagine it could happen in America, but I don't know if it's maybe more lenient in Dubai or what the rules are on things. But it was like properly sanctioned, like WBC belt and everything for the main event. So I imagine it could happen in the US, but probably just more fun and easier to do it in Dubai or somewhere else.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That sounds like such a fun experience here. What is Andy, speaking of like crypto Twitter and stuff, what was going on with Mark Cuban today? With Mark Cuban, did I see someone saying he was like mass unfollowing everyone in crypto that he had previously followed?
Yeah, over the last couple of days, he's been like unfollowing every crypto account that he follows, even like random protocols like pool together and stuff like that. It's been pretty funny. But he actually replied to Mike Dudas earlier today and was like, I haven't sold anything in a long time. Like, you can see my wallets are public. And so someone replied to me and he was like, maybe he just realized crypto Twitter is really annoying. And I was like, yeah, honestly, that's probably it.
What do you think, Craig? Do you think this is just like because of the SBF stuff, he's just trying to like distance himself from a PR optics standpoint with crypto? Is that like what's going on?
I don't think so. I think I think it might be a part of what Andy said. I mean, he is a boomer, and like crypto Twitter is definitely immature. Like the funny one for me was like, if you go to I think it's Big Tech Alert, that's the one that has all the notifications for his like follows and unfollows. But he like unfollowed someone. And I think Kobe was talking some shit to him. And then he unfollowed Kobe. It was like one of the Big Tech Alerts. And then Kobe replied and was like, thanks for buying all my bags at the top. We'll see you like 5 years from now. So it was pretty like hilarious. But yeah, I don't know. I do feel like it's partially like salty that he bought all the top and got rugged on Titan and everything else. And then partially like, that crypto Twitter is immature, but
my claim to fame. Oh, it's a great Twitter account.
Right,
my claim to fame is that I through a middleman introduced Mark Cuban to Titan, and so
Really?
That's one of my proudest moments. Yeah, he has like, oh hey Jennings actually introduced me to this middleman, but I would like talk to him about crypto and stuff, and I told him like, yeah, I'm farming this thing called Titan, and that was what got Cuban.
Funny, we start talking about Mark Cuban and Jennings just materializes on stream out of thin air. What's going on, Pete?
Wow. I just got done with dinner with the honeybee, Adam Levitan himself, and stoked to be with you guys. Hilarious that you're talking about Cuban. He came up today because I assume this is what you guys are talking about, but he unfollowed everyone in crypto, right? Jeeb said our friend Gerard, mutual friend, he said he got unfollowed by Cuban.
Did you get unfollowed, Pete?
No, he's still following me.
Wow.
I still talk to him. I mean, we're still a lot of deals, and it's an interesting time in the sports betting world. But yeah, the crypto angle, I mean, it seems it's unfortunate that I guess he's unfollowing everyone. I know he's been burned and he's made some decisions that probably weren't the best, but yeah.
Pete, do you know Krutches? Have you guys are you guys acquainted?
We are now.
Meet Pete. This was a really big unfollow spree here.
Dude, so many people.
That's hilarious. It almost too, like, I don't know, I'm so lazy on Twitter too. Like, I rarely unfollow. Like, I'll just like mute someone if it's like annoying. Like, I feel like there's some level of like pettiness, or like I want people to know I'm unfollowing, especially when these kind of accounts exist. It's like you're not gonna be able to do that quietly.
I started just like muting everyone that I find annoying. So that way, like, especially if they're like some reply guy in my comments, so they just like scream into the void forever. I found it like way better. Because you block them to get the badge, It's like, oh, this guy's mad. He blocked me. Like the only people I block now are people I think will like report my account when I talk shit to them or something. Because I've been banned before. So it's like, I'll talk shit and then like immediately block them. But like everyone else, it's like just mute and let them like scream in my mentions forever.
Yeah. I mean, Pete, we've been talking ever since the club launched, Cuban was our white whale to come on. I mean, tell him he can come on this show and just sound off on crypto Twitter one of these days.
Yeah, never got that one done. That's on me. I think it'd be pretty foolish to make the ass now, but
next cycle.
Next cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like
Andy.
What was that?
Yeah.
Before you show him Titan next cycle.
Yeah, before Titan 2, we'll get him on. We'll talk about it on the video. I'll explain why this time it's different. It's a new paradigm, super cycle, and then we'll go from there. And then we have to make sure we sell.
There you go. What else is new with you right now, Pete?
I'm just in the heart of the grind, all the sports stuff, trying to figure out the right path for Lucky Trader, trying to handle just kind of all the market dynamics from investing to companies and everything else. It's definitely a weird time. And I mean, yeah, just trying to manage the down only stretch here. Thank goodness sports isn't directly correlated to the macro econ environment, I guess.
Yeah, these underdog drafts still continue to snap fill. So, I mean, there's still some liquidity out there for underdog drafts, apparently.
Yeah, I wouldn't fucking know.
I actually heard that like DFS metrics are at all-time highs. It seems like betting's doing really well. And I do think there's a correlation between kind of the unwinding of the crypto casino back into sports betting. And
yeah, people always want to gamble on something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like unless you're shorting something, like if there's no upside right now in crypto, like I'm looking right now, I'm like my Dylan Brooks under is looking pretty good right now. So it's like, if I can bet player props right now instead of like, just sitting in like 1% moves in Bitcoin forever, then like, this is like 2019 and the last bear run. So it's like, might as well put your money to use somewhere else if you think you have any edge.
Well, is it that you guys had the big Telegram chat with all the NFT crypto guys for underdog drafts, and it was just like all of you guys who were just flipping NFTs, and they were like, well, that dried up, so we'll just blast off on underdog all day.
Literally blasting off. I think, I literally need to deposit before we do any drafts. I'm going to be a king here tonight and make a deposit.
There you go.
I love it.
There you go.
I'm still riding on my my win from a couple weeks ago, so I haven't had a deposit in a while, which is nice.
Yeah, what did you finish? Like 7th or higher than that?
Something like that. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the
auto
top 10.
swap, the auto late swap.
Yeah, the auto late swap to out of Chris Olave into somebody, but oh man, could have been.
It's
go ahead, Pete.
Real quick. It's just so fucking funny, and I certainly fall into this camp to a degree. But like all these people that were like, "Oh, crypto rich" or whatever, they're not grinding these niche sports anymore. They're not playing DFS. Almost everyone's back. All the people you're like, "Oh, how much money does that guy have? He must be set." Like, oh, they're back betting sports and doing the DFS stuff. So I'm sure some people, stone sold the top, but like it's been, it's funny to just kind of watch people's behavior.
Yeah, but even to get to the point where you're selling the top, like you have to have enough drive to like, you can't just turn it off. Like there's so many guys I know, they're just worth like, a ton, and they're just like on Uniswap buying like the newest shitcoin launches, and it's like, they just can't turn it off, even if it's not even about money to them. It's like, I need to win. You know what I mean? So it's like innate.
Totally. And no one timed it perfectly. I'm not trying to say that. Just, it is interesting that like a lot of these people who've been all in on crypto are back like full bore on the sports world.
And P, I mean, you're extremely bearish right now, right? I'm in our punks group chat trying to strong arm me into listing it basically every 12 hours right now.
Yeah, I am still bearish short term. I think hopefully things will shake out, but yeah, I also, I'm trying to sell stuff for losses, and the Terra Luna contagion, we saw that, how that impacted everything directly, and I still think there's a bit of contagion downside in the short term, but there'll be good buying opportunities at some point, depending on things that you have conviction in long term.
How can you say that when once every 4 days I see Andy post the 1% move up meme and I just assume that we're back and we're good?
We're back right now. We're up 2.5% in the last hour. We're so back.
Oh, baby.
There we go.
Today, which I was not.
But Pete, are you dumping any of your other CryptoPunks? How many do you have left?
Well, I have two that are on my own that I have for gains. So I don't really want to sell those. Yeah. And I definitely didn't play things super well, but I'm in the position where I still have gains on the year from May. So
How much are we down on ours? I assume you've done the math.
In USD, we're down way more than what I think like the ETH part of it is. But I'd be curious your guys' perspective. Like, what's your view on the next couple months?
I have no fucking idea. I think, I don't know, in the same way that we were just talking about how like people are going back to DFS, like you watch the Art Gobblers or Valhalla or, and like the curve shit that went down today, like degenerate gamblers are still going to gamble degenerately on stuff on chain. It's still like the best casino in the world.
Yep.
And so I think there's still going to be stuff that happens. What'll be interesting to see is like, I think that in general, like crypto sentiment is as bad as I've really ever seen, having been in the space for this long, which to me, like as Iceberg, he tweets like every 5 hours, like how much worse can it really get? Yeah. And I honestly, I don't know. I'm not really sure it could get much worse than it is. So I struggle to see like massive downside from here. To be honest, like I just don't know who has not sold that is like, oh, one more bad thing of news and now I'm going to sell. But maybe that's just hopium from me.
Yeah,
I hope you're right.
I'm with you. I think it's more like when you see the combination of the unwinding that we've seen so far, like I agree, Peter, that there's still some more contagion that'll probably play out. But I think, like someone said, I don't know if they were close to the bottom price-wise, but I think we're close to the bottom time-wise, because we could see like a spike to $500 ETH. Like I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, just like a pure wick, capitulation wick. But like when you see like Kobe tweeting that like we need to defend the buy wall basically, and Nomad like kind of agreeing with him and like the actual OGs, and then at the same time you're seeing like the Mark Cuban situation and like Fidelity like backing off on their crypto stuff, and I think it's like kind of makes for a good time to at least start buying. But I mean, I could be wrong. I'm always a perma bull in a way, but yeah, I would definitely rather the people that are starting to get more into the bottom calls now than were like 5-6 months ago. So
what is your background, Krutches? Like, how did you get into crypto? Are you from like the trading side, investing? Like what put you on this trajectory?
Not really. I mean, I just like personally invested back in like ever since like college, and post college, just doing like dividend growth stocks and all that basic stuff back in the day. And then like found out about Twitter or, crypto in like 2017 and Bitcoin and ETH initially, and then lost my shit on altcoins, in the bear market and kind of stuck around. But yeah, ever since then, just been like online on Twitter and learning and all that stuff. So, yeah, I was late to NFTs, but made some good money last year on NFTs. And then at least like towards the top in August was just flipping like everything on a daily basis. But yeah, I definitely missed out. Like D's tried to get me to buy punks sooner than the classic story, and I didn't. But yeah, I basically just crypto until like mid 2021, and then NFTs. And then yeah, I've just been hanging out, enjoying the depression of the bear market. This is definitely worse than 2018, like most people said. Like that was like, I think like the last thing I was going to say about like the market is like, it doesn't mean we're going to go up from here when I say bottom, but it's just like we're entering like the depression part of the zone where it's just like flat and there's no volatility and everyone wants to quit. And so yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. But yeah,
I feel like you've done bear market well in that you got really into underdog. You're grinding the DFS streets. You did a boxing match that you trained for like 6 to 7 months. I mean, that's how you get out of a bear market,
I love that.
there.
Yeah, I mean, if you call punting it off an underdog doing well in a bear market, then I'm doing fucking amazing.
I want to hear about the boxing match. I love that. Like, We love the physical prop bets. So we've done a lot of those. Those are great.
Yeah.
Did you have action down on that?
Not on myself. But like you said, Pete, I just didn't know like my opponent. So I really I didn't want to sound like a lack of confidence, but I just didn't know my opponent at all. And I just didn't want to like risk more action on myself other than my pride. But I basically put like a good amount of action down on just one fight, which was KJ against Barney. Barney's like, he's an absolute Chad, and like shout out for him for fighting KJ, who looks like a damn bodybuilder in there. But like, and I defended Barney initially. Like when they announced the fight, people were just like, Barney's going to get murdered. And then I'm like, first off, Barney's like 6'3" on it. He's way taller than KJ. He's got way more reach. KJ just looks intimidating because he's super ripped and everything. And then I also said like carrying all that muscle is like not good for endurance in a fight. But then like once I got out there, like I sparred with KJ and trained with him during the week, and I was like, he's not going to lose this fight. Like he's mentally very sharp and his cardio's there. Like he just wanted to keep sparring when we were out there. And I'm like, dude, calm down. I did like 3 rounds with you. That's good for me. And he's just like a killer mindset when he gets in the ring, and he's like very technical too. And he's a southpaw. I was just like, so yeah, I was like, I just bet like my entire USDC that I had on MetaMask, like on KJ, and it won. So it was a closer fight than I thought. I thought like Barney, he didn't gas as quick as he did his last year as well. So it was a good fight, but I was sweating it. Watching it back, it wasn't that close, but I was sweating it in the moment.
I bet. We got Mexico City boy, Jack Settlement. Are you in a taxi cab or what?
He's in the car, not talking.
Oh, in the car, not talking. Okay.
I love the name.
Look at this guy. This is dedication here. So that's actually Krutches as far as like a bet. That's nice that you got to see a little uphand, little information. And was that disclosed? Whoever took your bet, they knew that you sparred with the person you were betting on?
I don't know. I don't think there's any regulation in these streets, is there?
No, it's the Wild West,
maybe.
That's awesome.
No, I mean, I guess I had information on Barney too. That's one of the reasons I was most confident on that fight, because I saw Barney fight last year, and like I said, he's got like big balls for stepping in there, and he'll swing for the fences. But like I think KJ is a much higher quality opponent than Luke was. Like Luke was pretty tight in there, I think, overall, and like and I knew that like KJ was not scared to get in there. So I was like, having seen Barney last year and then having like seen Luke in the gym or KJ in the gym, I was like very confident.
What was the post-fight celebration like? Did you get after it?
A little bit. I hadn't drank like in like 2-3 months prior to it. And I was like at the bar, like post-fight, or at the club we were at. And like, I was just like, do I want to drink? Like, I feel good not drinking. And I'm not like a big drinking guy, but I won't ever like drink at home. I'll just like get hammered at clubs when I go out. And I was just like, do I want to or not? And then I ended up drinking, but not like too much. But it was super cool, like sick club. Everything in Dubai was just like we went was just sick. Yeah.
That's awesome. Pete, did you catch any of those boxing matches? I was saying how it's like we always get in DFS, saying that people threaten these things, but no one ever has the organizational fortitude to pull it off.
Or the balls. I mean, everyone's just huge shit talkers in DFS, and they don't actually do it. I have so much admiration. Boxing, I think, is like a true physical test. I would never box myself, but I have a ton of admiration. And yeah, it's all these physical prop bets are great. Like, you didn't drink. I'm sure you're super disciplined with your diet. Like, that's the stuff that we love. Maybe
you haven't seen his McDonald's bet on Twitter. We were just talking about this guy. How many times a week do you eat McDonald's? What is the actual amount you do?
I mean, like the only way I've tracked is like sometimes at the end of the month, I'll go through my credit card statement and just like see. And like I've done like 31 times in 30 days. Like it's been like, yeah. I guess you could call that disciplined. I stick to a diet, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's incredible.
I mean, it's the calories in, calories burn thing, right? It works for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I tell people like, it's kind of a meme. Like I don't recommend it. Like the quality of food is obviously bad, but like people like that shit on it. I'm like, what are you eating at home? Like cereal for breakfast? Like that's worse than eating like, what I'm eating. So
no, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's like people go to like Panera Bread and think they're eating healthy or something, like relative to McDonald's, and it's like the exact same amount of calories.
That's like the biggest meme. It's like, oh, I went to Subway. It's like, congrats, you just ate like 50% soy in your meat, like your rubber chicken. Like, congrats.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Can we go back to the markets?
Yeah.
I just want to continue to talk through that because I think it's really interesting. I agree that fear is at an all-time high, and that's normally a really big buy signal. But I'm concerned. The institutional thing is definitely very real. I heard, I have a friend who has, multiple billions under management. Those clients were looking into crypto and they're like completely out now. And I think that a lot of people in that world are going to wait for regulation to invest capital again. So that's concerning to me. And then the thing that I still don't fully understand, but just intuitively, like all these people who had crypto that are now going through like the bankruptcy process, like a lot of them have sold already, but there's still, from what I understand, tokens out there that like in theory are going to have to be liquidated. And then what about the like there's more credits like on paper towards like Bitcoin than there actually are Bitcoin right now. I don't know. There's just a lot of dynamics that have me concerned that there could be some short-term sell pressure. And then at some point, it'll just be, the OGs. And I did see like a ton of like the Bitcoin, for example, hasn't moved. A lot of what's left that hasn't sold as like the percent that hasn't moved is at a high. So I don't know. There's a lot of different variables and I'm trying to digest it all. I'm just still short-term nervous because I think the FTX stuff will have even more rippling effects in the short term. Just like the Terra Luna stuff had like a huge impact. And like we're seeing still like some of the problems that caused with Alameda and FTX. I mean, that's probably a small part of it given some of the fraud that we've seen so far, but a lot of angles there.
You're saying it's just a few more liquidations and then up only?
I hope so. That's kind of my few more liquidations and then hopefully like a steady like floor and then hopefully up only.
I feel like I mean, this is probably talked about already, but like almost all of the contagion we've seen has been from Luna though. Like, because you think about like Luna is what popped a hole into 3AC's bag and Voyager and Celsius, and then like all of the 3AC going down and all this stuff caused like the ripple effect into FTX where they were obviously bleeding money and then having to like subsidize Alameda. So like in a way, it's almost like Luna alone ruined the entire like contagion in the space from at least from like the ripple effects. So I find that interesting, but yeah,
there's
I don't
so much
know.
leverage. So like when there's that much leverage and air in the balloon, one pop like has a huge impact, and we're still seeing that. So, and it could be the bottom. I'm never, not financial advice. Like I am not a trader. I like don't think I make good short-term decisions. The reason I'm pestering Pete so much is like, the Luna stuff was a long-term thing for me. So even though it was down bad, it's still capital gains. So like the beautiful thing with crypto is you can sell a lot of these things. And if you want to re-enter, the tax consequences are good. So, but at the same time, I am short-term bearish for sure. Like I'm still nervous about how this ripples throughout kind of everything else. And knowing that like, who are our big buyers? Like who's coming in for the same reason? Like who are the sellers? Like who are the next like batch of like really big buyers? And I think we would have said institutions and other people for sure in the past, but now I think with this FTX story, like a lot of people are concerned. And like, who's loading up like on Thanksgiving tomorrow or Thursday? Who's loading up like their Coinbase account to like buy Bitcoin?
Let's go, Grandma. Let's go.
I don't know. I think in the past we've seen a lot of that. I don't know if we're seeing that this year. So
imagine trying to get your drunk uncle to buy crypto this Thanksgiving after all the news stories he's been watching.
Yeah, everyone just thinks crypto is a scam, and they don't even realize it's so sad. It's the centralized entities and bad actors. Like the story of crypto itself, like DeFi is like more compelling than ever. The original thesis of Bitcoin is more compelling than ever.
Well, that's what's so perverted about how this went down, right? Is like it has been just a screaming validation for decentralization and holding your own coins and stuff. And yet the on-ramp for the normies and everyone is through the exchanges. People, flock to Coinbase because they made it so easy and so simple. And then if you erode that trust via FTX on the exchanges, even though Coinbase still has a good reputation, but like still like the retail person, like they're probably just going to blanket, put all of those exchanges under the same umbrella and say, why would I trust any of them? These guys aren't going out and self-custodying their Bitcoin now.
Coinbase bonds are trading at like 50 cents on the dollar 3 years out, 5 years out. So like,
I was going to say that's what you could buy their debt for like 17% right now, APR or whatever it is. It's pretty impressive. That's probably a good trade to be honest, but I don't have the balls to do that right now.
I would rather buy.
I was going to say from a sentiment perspective, like I agree with you, Pete, but like I a promoted ETF on my feed today. I tweeted about, and like it was a stagflation ETF. It's like, are you guys ready for like inflation? And it was like, buy my stagflation ETF. And I was like, this is like the bottom version of like SPACs to me. Like the fact that like the public was talking about like money printer back in the day, right? And like inflation, and like it's never going to stop going burr. And like that was probably a sign that like the fact that all of public is like up only forever, like should be concerning. And now the fact that the public is kind of like down only forever kind of makes me feel better. And then I think the other thing that's interesting too is that like after bull years, like there is that like tax sell-off, like the in January, the year after like 2017, and then after 2021. And I wonder if like people aren't going to buy, like why would you buy in December right now to where like your tax burden would be sooner versus like waiting till January and buying, right? So I'm definitely not saying there's like an institutional bid or anything, but I think we could see like sideways for now, and then like nobody wants to buy while it's going sideways, so that's why it stays sideways for so long, like it did in 2019. But I think once it stays sideways for a while and there hasn't been a catastrophic traumatic event in like a few months, then people might be like, okay, I'll start dipping my toes back in. And then once price starts going up, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy again. But I think that's kind of the compelling part. It's like it is scary because there's no institutional buyers, but that can be sometimes the best time because you're getting in a way before them, like as much as it's a meme. But yeah, I think like early next year, like from now until like spring of next year, like I'm fine just averaging in. Even if I'm wrong, even if it wicks to 500, then I'll happily try to time that. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. So
no, totally. And I think like the other thing for me with like this period of time is like I think it's a really good time to kind of gut check yourself a little bit. And if you generally think that crypto like has long-term viability, like, and you don't need the money right now, like Krutches was saying, and just spending the next couple months or however long dollar cost averaging or just continuing to hold what you have, like you're probably better off than trying to time the market and like wait until things are going to go up or try to time the bottom. And like for me personally, while the sentiment around crypto right now, like public sentiment is maybe the worst like I've seen in my time in crypto, that's mostly because like in 2018 there was no public sentiment about crypto. Like no one gave a fuck about it, and like that bear market, like no one cared. And so like I think that to me there's still like this very real kind of chasm that was crossed. This cycle of like mainstream interest and adoption that's really hard to go back from, where like most people now at least like know that Bitcoin is a thing, like really know that it's a thing and that people care about it much more so than in 2017, 2018.
Yeah.
What are your guys' oh, go ahead, Pete.
No, I would say that's a really good thought. And I do think that there's people like the alpha maybe is that, the normie sees this and like just conflate, doesn't really understand that it's not the decentralized protocols that are causing the problem. It's all the centralized and traditional stuff that we've seen in other financial markets that cause the issues. And the people who do recognize that say, okay, this is a, really unique buying opportunity. Because I do think that that's just with talking with people, it's like I went out to dinner with like Ashley, her mom, her cousin, all these people, like they're accountants, and they're like, "Oh yeah, crypto's totally fucked now, right? Like this is a huge scam, like people were saying." And it's like, well, this is what I like tried to explain what happened, and that like FTX is much more like a kind of a Ponzi scheme and similar to Enron with the fraud and whatever else. And like it didn't really like fully click that it was like that was a centralized entities issue, not necessarily. And it's actually the opposite. Bitcoin continues to mine and everything's working well. Ethereum's still working super well. DeFi protocols are working well. Like the pillars in which, these crypto assets are built, those are worth more than ever now in terms of like the contrast with these centralized entities that have just totally hurt the industry. But that's the like perception of like relatively smart people that weren't in crypto necessarily, but like they are feeling validation that crypto is a scam, I guess.
Yeah. The way that I feel about it is we've just been given an amazing opportunity to be early again. And like, I didn't think that we would ever have this level of a chance to be like, everyone thinks that crypto is shit. And like, it sucks for a lot of other reasons. But like, a collapse at the level of FTX like resets public perception so much that like the conversation in 2021 of like you'll never get a cycle like there was previously because everyone thought it was such a major, like everyone's all in now and all the institutions are buying and like who's the next marginal buyer after JP Morgan, all these people, like that whole narrative has totally gone away. And like you're really going to be left with the people who are just true believers holding by the time things start to go up again for the most part. And so like unironically, we're kind of early again in that sense.
Yeah. Two things. Like there was, it's kind of the meme of like when like people recently have finally been like even crypto native people are like it might be actually be over this time, and like that's the level of like pain that we need. Like when people are like oh just keep buying the dip, like we'll be back for another cycle. Like next time I'll try to remember not to buy when people say that, like if if it's the same thing again, because it's like there's too much hope and people are just like, oh, just buy the dip, like we'll be back. And now people are like all the stupid like rainbow models and everything have broken like the bottom levels, and it's like it's actually over this time. Like all the stock to flow is dead, like this is dead, and it's like, okay, now it's actually better to buy. Yeah, it's like I'd rather do that.
What are your, now that we continue to get more I guess a little more information about the SBF stuff? I know today he sent like a memo to his employees. Like where are you guys at on like where, like just who he is as a person? Like, is he an idiot? Is he a true scammer? Is he just clueless? Does he think that he wasn't doing anything wrong? Like, what is your guys' updated read of him now?
Government plan, conspiracy theory. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much stuff that like just doesn't make sense. Timing, his connections, like I don't know. The fact that he's like so willing to admit to like, oh yeah, we did all this with the money, and like just like I mean, I know he's paid people off and so he's getting puff pieces, but like but yeah, it's super weird. But yeah, I really think he's a pathological like liar piece of shit. I have like no pity for him. The fact that everything he sends is just like, I feel deeply sorry about this, I'm so sorry, it's on me. It's like, okay, then why, like, and if you saw like his live threads throughout the whole thing, like the day before he would say something like, this is fine, and then the day after it was like, no, he was literally embezzling money while he was making that tweet. Like it's, if it wasn't for that, I would feel like, okay, maybe he was incompetent and he was in over his head, but like there's no chance with the fact that he was like live tweeting like stuff's fine, and then like, oh no, he actually just took $300 million of his $420 million funding round for himself. Like it's not at all like a mistake, I think.
Yeah, I just think he's a piece of shit. Like he's not stupid, and the only way you could read this shit, like read this email, and have it make any sense, is either that he is an idiot or he is just a liar. Like the fact that he is still trying to defend, like, I don't know what happened, our books are still worth more mark to market than our liabilities. Like, you're not a fucking idiot, dude. There's no way that you can read that sentence and be like, this is a fair thing to say. Like, this makes sense. And so I just think he's a piece of shit.
What do you think, Pete?
Yeah, I mean, I'm basically in agreement with Andy. The thing that I think is going to be most interesting to find out, and kind of we'll see how much of a piece of shit he truly was, is like when all this started to happen. Like, what did he start out with malicious intent and like do a lot of really bad stuff in like the very beginning, and then like, yeah, the conspiracy stuff like really ratchets up if like he started with like really bad intentions? Or is it the point, where they're running a good business, they're doing well in the bull, things started to crash, then he made some really suspect decisions, obviously, once he started dipping into consumer funds, like it just compounds and spirals in a horrible way. And then you're trying to keep this like lie alive, that's where it seems like the most egregious behavior was. But like once you're past the point of like, once he did that and made that mistake and started spiraling, then it's like you just keep compounding this lie in a bad way. And so like there's a ton of egregious behavior. I want to like understand fully when all this egregious behavior really first started. So that's the most interesting thing to me, is like, was there like Ponzi elements and other things like when they were like first started raising money, or did this all happen once the bull run started to, go away?
Yeah.
Even when you like tease apart some of his language too, it's like he comes across like a sociopath too, where he's like, I'm going to do what I can to make it up to you guys and to the customers, even if that takes the rest of my life. You're like, all right, I buy this, but I'm worried that even then I won't be able to. Like, I'm going to just do everything I can to spell you. But let's be honest, you guys are fucked. Like, just even the way he writes, he's such an unreliable narrator.
Yeah, I mean, just like, I forget what the project was that Rugged like back in the day, and they just changed the website to write like penis, and that was it. Like, do that. Like,
Oh,
it hurt
man.
that much less than like your threads about how you're sorry, and your 26 like letter threads with, you know, a letter per. It's just so stupid. Like, it doesn't matter, like all this stuff. It's like, you just don't touch customer funds. Like, it's that simple. Like people are like trying to make these excuses about their book and like, you know, they're worthless like Oxy, you know, Serum and FIDA tokens and all this shit. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you just don't touch customer funds. Like, it's really that simple. And like, you know, that's where all the fraud comes down to. Like, you know, if you kept deposits in dollars, like somewhere safe, like you wouldn't be in this situation. Like, it's kind of simple in a way. So yeah, like shit's fucked.
Like,
but in a way, that's also like what's nice about Coinbase, as much flack as they catch, is like, even with like Binance and these others, like doing their, you know, proof of assets, like they're just saying how many assets they have. We don't know liabilities. We don't know anything else. And like Coinbase is nice because they're public. So you can like see on their 10Qs and everything, like what, you know, what their liabilities are. So it's like, as much as people like to hate on them, it's the most public, like, you know, insight you're going to get into an exchange. Them, and then I think Kraken is actually pretty solid as well. So despite liquidity issues.
And how delusional do you have to be to write this sentence? I believe that there are billions of dollars of genuine interest from new investors that could go to making customers whole. Like, that is a batshit crazy sentence.
It's totally insane.
Remember his message where he did the interview? The one decent article that we saw was the one where the person had like the DMs with him, and then they were just like posting them all, and he was just like, I've got 2 weeks to save everyone and like raise $8 billion. It's like, dude, like, you lost $10 billion. You're not raising $8 billion. Like, how much of a psychopath do you think you have? Like, nobody's gonna buy you out. Like, you were literally like running. If it was like a mistake, I think, you know, Binance and these other ones would be more interested in like buying them out to like try to save the industry from this shit. But like, the fact that you were just like basically running an open Ponzi and raising as much money as you can and taking half those raises for yourself and buying real estate with your parents and all this stuff. Like, there's just no coincidences. Like, it's all just such a piece of shit. Like, it's crazy.
What's your guys' updated thought on like what happens to him? Just slap on the wrist, jail. He's a plant, so they'll, you know, shuttle him away somewhere safely. Like, what do you think happens?
A nice house on the Palm in Dubai next to Sifu and Suzu, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I was there like at a beach club before the fight, and like Mo was like pointing at the island. He's like, Sifu lives there. He's got like 3 Bentleys. Right next to him is Suzu. It's like ridiculous. They all just go there for
Daniel's over there too, right? That whole crew.
Yeah, I think Caroline's trying to go there. She was in like Hong Kong trying to go to Dubai. So yeah, it's so funny. It was just like, yeah, that house is like Sifu. This house is Suzu. And it's like, this shit's crazy, man. Like, so he's probably just going to try to get out and go there, but who knows? He's so high profile. Yeah. I wonder if the Bahamas will let him get out of there. So
yeah.
Is there validity to what we saw today that he spent like $120 million on like on real estate for his parents?
I think those are court documents that came out. I don't think it was like rumors.
Yeah, I didn't dig into that, but yeah, the amount of money that he spent in the Bahamas on all the real estate, obviously the hack, it seems like it's like 99% that went back to the government there, right? Like, you're like some way connected to the Bahamas. Is that fair to say?
Oh, he's bought out that entire government, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
that's a lot cheaper to buy out than the U.S. and he bought them out too. So
how does that work? Like, if the U.S. wants to put him in jail in the U.S., like, are they going to be able to do anything, or is he pretty safe in the Bahamas?
I think there's extradition.
I don't really know.
I think they would have to file like criminal charges against him to get the extradition like order, and I don't think they're going to do that until like after probably all the bankruptcy stuff.
Do you think
like
oh, go ahead.
I was just to say, I'm surprised he's feeling safe in the Bahamas too. Like, everyone like probably has a sense of where he is. Like, I'm surprised. I don't know. There's a lot of rumors, and like you see him like around. Like, I would not be going anywhere in public if I was him. Like
him running around like a penguin with his
I saw that. Yeah, I mean,
do you guys think like with him paying off the government and him, being in bed with all of these lobbyists and taking all of these meetings, like do you think he was planning for this all along of like, this is the path I'm headed down and throwing money at this will probably help me out down the road in some sense? Or do you think it was just more general of like, hey, this can't hurt to be buddy with all of these people, and I already have some of the connections via my parents? Like, I'm just curious how premeditated you think it was.
Yeah, that to me is like how much of a piece of shit. I mean, he's obviously he's a piece of shit regardless, but like, when did this start? And like, you can start justifying the behavior like right away. It's like, okay, I'm using customer funds to like, get, media behind me, get politicians. That's good for the business. It's all going to be right. Like, when did all this behavior start? And when did he, I'm sure he was just caught up in like the power and like being that guy. And like, that's part of what's leading to this just like ridiculous behavior with all his tweets and whatever else. But yeah,
I think
that's the question to me.
I think when you start like legislating against DeFi, it's pretty intentional what you're doing. And considering like that bill is still in Capitol Hill that was sponsored like by him, I think that's pretty idiotic. Like you said, if anything, this shows that like DeFi is operating as intended and CeFi has all the bad players. And like, I think I forget what it was, but some politician was on, I saw an interview today on like Fox Business or something, and like had by far the best bit I've ever heard a politician have on crypto on the whole thing. I think it was Tom Emmer or something. I don't know where he's from. But like, it was like a 5-minute like rant where he was just like, he's like, this is good. Like DeFi did what it's supposed to. All this stuff did, worked as intended, and centralized bad actors that are doing this. And like the government's trying to regulate and basically like shit on Gensler too, and was like Gensler literally tried to give like FTX preferential treatment, like in a backroom meeting they had, and I'm sure there's a bunch of like political stuff too that I don't care about, but like it was definitely by far the most like informational take I've ever heard someone in politics have, and I was like impressed. I'm like, can we get more of this, and just like not have the idiotic takes that we have from the old ones. So I was like, that's a glimmer of hope, I guess. Like there's, and then he even talked about like him getting puff pieces in the media and stuff. So I was like, oh, impressive. Someone's on crypto Twitter, or their interns are at least.
That was great. I saw that too. And they just really went in on Gensler too. I mean, just talk about all the bad actors that he should have been paying attention to, that we've seen all the fraud, and that was like more up his alley. And instead he was trying to go after like the good actors in the space. And I thought it was a really good call out and really well researched. And it's good to see. I think that's one other big difference between now and, past bear markets and cycles. Like you're right, Andy, in 2018, we didn't have politicians advocating for all this. Like we have a lot of politicians now advocating for crypto. Andy, you just retweeted the mayor of New York, obviously Senator Loomis, like stuff I saw today. There's a bunch of people that have influence that are advocates for crypto. So there's definitely positive.
Yeah, I mean, there was even like the one Republican guy who was like calling out Gensler in particular, and like his connection with FTX and all of that. And it's interesting to see some people really take the stand for crypto who actually have power now. That's super new.
I think that's where like we get like, once again, back to like the market cycles thing. Like we're in for a lot of pain, and like we have seen a lot of pain, obviously, but like it shakes out a lot of the institutional players and all this like in the short term. But like there's like CMS is big. I think they were like with the GMI pack and all this stuff that they're like supporting politicians that are pro crypto and pro like technology and all this stuff. So I think like long term you see it evolve. Like eventually like the Warrens and the who's the other guy from California that's like Brad Sherman, I think it is, that just know like nothing about crypto and just like shit on it for no reason. And like eventually you're going to see these people retire, and like young people are naturally going to like be more supportive of this technology. Obviously, unless they're funded by banks and stuff, like who knows, but for the most part, like young people just have a better understanding of the technology. And so I think like might be a long, slow process, but like over 5-10 years, like you just see more and more like pro crypto, like legislation, even if it is like somewhat, KYC and AML, like there's going to be that like dark side of crypto and then the KYC part of crypto. But like long term, you're going to see like more positive regulation for it, even if it's like painful in the short term.
Do you think like how much of this do you think is going to get weaponized like as a political talking point, I guess, in either direction? Or do you think it kind of like is going to ultimately still kind of transcend the party stuff?
I think it's definitely going to be weaponized. I mean, they talked about it even on the All In podcast. I mean, a lot of the Republican people are going after the Dems for this, especially with, you know, how SBF allocated capital for media and political influence. I mean, the Trump lose line is gone viral, and even like the people who are like, "Oh, crypto's a scam," kind of brought up those points. So I definitely think it's going to become more and more political. I think it'll be weaponized in the short term. I mean, politics just right now are just, I mean, it's just crazy. Trump coming back in the mix and everything else that's going on. It just feels like we're going to see even more controversy on politics than usual. So I think this will be a big part of it. And I think the Republicans certainly are going to use it. And we've already heard it on some of the more mainstream stuff. So that's my view, but could certainly be wrong.
The good news is like, it's kind of a lame duck, like government for a couple of years. And then hopefully like next bull run, like if there is a directional side to the government that wants to pass legislation, like we're in a better state in, I don't know, 2024 November, hopefully in a bull market to where like we're not getting the brunt of the negative legislation. I don't know. That's kind of my hope, is that like they don't get anything done and it's just right versus left for the next 2 years and not like government versus crypto. I think that's like best case scenario, that there's just kind of nothing happens for the next couple of years. And then bull run 2024, 25, God willing. And then we're in the good graces of the government again, because we're, you know, everyone's happy. So who knows?
We need to start the meme of embracing crypto to own the libs, and just getting all these Republicans to you know, hold their own Bitcoin in their private storage here, and that's really how you own the libs. I think that would be a great marketing campaign for crypto. All right. You guys want to rip a few underdog turkey drafts? I did a few of these this afternoon, and I'm already addicted to ripping these here.
Well, I did deposit.
Yeah, let's do it. I still can only view, sadly. But.
Andy, you can be my wingman as usual here. It's actually like a pretty fun slate as far as only having 6 teams. The only thing with these
we're doing the turkey, right?
Yeah, I just hopped in one.
Did I get in? I think I'm in.
I'm in.
The Influencer 101. Did you guys get in? Crutches is in.
No, I might take one more to start.
Poor Pete.
They're really going that fast.
Yeah, Pete didn't give us any lead time for this one.
Sorry, I'm so used to just springing it on people to keep the red badge brigade out of my drafts that it's just a reflex.
Look how much of a rookie I am to DFS. I don't even have a badge. Say hi to Mac.
It's crazy how fast they're going.
It's Mac's birthday tomorrow. Say hi to him.
Oh, now that's a cute pup right there.
He turns 2 tomorrow. So
look at that.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I got him some new toys and a new bed back here. So hopefully he can just hang out on stream back there.
There you go. Looks like some people made it in your overflow draft.
Yeah.
The one thing you got to watch out for.
So this is fun because you only have six QBs here.
Yeah, and the 6 QBs are like, you know, viable, but it's the tight ends. Once you get to the Jotto Smith, Brock Wright, Lawrence Cager territory, it gets thin.
So is Hawk going like first round or?
No, he's actually fallen a little bit here, 14.5.
You should like it, Pete. You get the galaxy brain a little bit. It's not just play the best plays over here.
Oh yeah, we're always. Pete, speaking of galaxy braining it, I saw you and I both had the same Mariota double stack as our main lineup this past week at DFS. Or was that one of your the one I saw?
If that was my main lineup, I'd be fucking rich. Now I didn't have that in anything high stakes.
Oh, you just had it in Wildcat?
I had in like $800 of entries. It returned like 12 or 13,000, and I still lost. I mean, I'm just such a donkey. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mariota double would have been aggressive in high stakes, though. It was like always.
It projected so well, but like the IKB on it was just like, there's no way this gets there, right?
See, to me, actually, I've liked Mariota all year, and I've mainly done singles just because, like, obviously they run, and like Mariota's more your upside as he rushes for a touchdown. But last week was so tight and it was so brutal that, like, I mean, all the pieces were cheap, so it was just like that fit, you know, the build.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was fortunate to have Pollard, but
yeah, Pollard
God, mistakes were made, Pete. I had last week was super tilting.
Yeah.
Dude, not to flex too much, but I 2x'd my entries last week, Pete. I was pretty hot last week for once in my life.
Yeah, who did you build around?
I think I had, I mean, I'm an opto bro, but I had like 24% Pollard. So I was like 6X the
Oh,
field
wow.
on him, which is pretty nice.
That'll do.
But I did last minute I got talked into playing like Drake. I was going to play like 10% Drake just to have some exposure. And I let him bump up to like 18 and maybe even 20%. So I donked that play, but, and I hated it too, but I did like the other options. I probably would have played Donta Foreman instead of Drake anyway in similar price range. So, either way it would have busted, but I was sweating some first place late in the day, but then, I needed Boyd to go for 0, which he was. And then he finally got some catches late. So
that was like a whirlwind day too, where, you know, if you had PMR going late, you were stoked. And then if you peaked too early, then you had all that Bengals Steelers like flurry at the end too. And then that knocked so many teams down, even Pollard teams, like because of that game
and Adams stuff. And the Adams
Yeah.
stuff.
That walk
God,
off.
I had no Adams. In the Thunderdome, I had I only started one player, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. And I had like Dallas and Hawkinson, and didn't have Pollard, and I was like, oh, yeah. The Hawkinson TD drop early was so tilting.
Oh yeah. Krutches, I see you're trying to get a little flop lag on the Barkley Amon Ra mini correlation from last week.
I'm galaxy braining over here.
Andy, I think we definitely stack up Josh with Gabe. What do you like for the second one?
I mean, if we want to get cute, we can always go like Jamal Williams and do a little correlation.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily love it.
The only reason I'm a little down on Jamal is because, I mean, like Justin Jackson looks like their best running back right now, which is crazy. But his touchdown expectation is so good. We could also go tight end if we just want to make sure we lock up one of these top guys.
I don't hate taking one of those 2 top guys. I think there's just such a massive drop off of potential, upside.
Do you know what Jamal Williams was in like the Millie Maker last week? Like, what did he come in at ownership wise? I didn't see.
It had to be sub 5%.
Because I think I played like 8 or 9. I remember like going into the weekend, I was like, they just keep wanting to give him all the goal line touches. So I think I played like 8 or 9%, which was nice, but not like massively over the field. But I was just like, we can't even trust like DeAndre Swift. This sucks because I want to, but like they just pull him. He could go like 98 yards and go down at the 1. And they're just like, Jamal Williams time. It's like the Zeke play, but except that like DeAndre is more injury prone than Pollard and isn't going to see a full game script.
Yeah, I don't mind, man. Swift is just so hard. He's just like topping out at 10 touches every week. I do think Justin Jackson's one of my favorite late picks in these.
Yeah, he got a lot of snaps last week.
Yeah.
The DraftKings thing is pretty sick. I don't know if you guys have looked at that, but the ripping packs to try to win $1 million for Rainmakers.
I haven't seen
that.
Yeah, there's a Million Maker for Rainmakers this week, and you can only use cards from these holiday packs. So it's like a brand new starting point for a lot of people. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
What are they, like $200 a pack though?
There's different pricing. I think, the main ones are 200. Not saying it's plus EV. The marketplace is certainly interesting too, but it's pretty cool. It's a cool contest. It's a lot of game theory because if you have a duplicate lineup, which obviously on a Thanksgiving slate, like a lot of people are, especially with like, Josh Allen, Diggs, Gabe Davis, St. Brown, etc. So the serials, like if you tie, they use the serials.
Yeah. Don't dupe me, bro, unless I have a better cereal.
So then, it's like, do you go for like just like the optimals and try to do the serial stuff, or do you try to be contrarian? And it's pretty cool.
All right, Andy, we're back up. I'm kind of shocked that Schultz fell all the way.
Yeah.
Who's interesting to you here?
I mean, after what just happened to Minnesota, I don't hate taking Damian Harris here.
I'm with you.
I think that he's just like a nice one-off there.
Yep. I think we could probably swing for the fences with like Gallup. We don't have a ton of correlation here, or we could just double up Allen with McKenzie.
Yeah, I don't dislike McKenzie. Like my heart wants to say Swift, but he just doesn't Doesn't get enough looks.
I guess maybe on a 3-game slate, he still has the upside. I mean, he pretty much has to rip off like a 60-yard TD run or check down that he takes to the
He must
house.
just still be pretty hurt, right? Like,
Yeah, he said
that's
he
what's
said he's not
frustrating.
100%. That's the frustrating part. Yeah.
Yep.
He said he's just like gutting it out. I mean, he's so explosive. Like, you know, if you knew he was 100% healthy and he's only going to get 12 touches, like on this slate, he can easily be viable. Just because he is like the most likely guy on the slate outside of like Jefferson and Diggs to like bust off a 60-yard touchdown. Maybe CD Lamb's in the conversation, but now, I mean, he still looks pretty explosive, but he's definitely not like prime DeAndre Swift. You know, like not. He looks so much more explosive than everyone else on the field when he's right.
Well, and when you listen to the coaches' comments too, where it's like Swift says he's fine, and then the coaches will be like, "Well, he's not running with confidence, or he's not running like we want him to," and that's why they love Jamal Williams so much, because they do just love the between the tackles grinder, you know, pound it in there, and that's just like not who Swift is. What do you got going here, Krutches? You got the Jared Goff, and now Knox and Cook coming back here.
I'm punting off hard. This is my first turkey draft, so
I don't mind it.
Nobody's going to own James Cook. And he had, 11 carries this past week against a pretty bad Detroit defense. So
yeah. I think he'll be owned. I've been seeing people talk about him more.
Cook? Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like the convo around him starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah. He's really starting to eat into Singletary's touches.
I'm not shocked by that. I kind of figured that would happen.
I still wonder if it's the in close games narrative that Singletary gets all the work, and then in blowouts they're just like, let's toss someone else in there.
I can't believe they're not using it. Naheem Hines. I thought that was like a perfect pickup. He's so good out in the passing game, but he hasn't even seen the field. I mean, he's barely getting out there. Like I thought that was just a meaningful piece for them potentially.
Yeah, that was weird. It seems like they just want redundancy, like headed into the playoffs if something were to happen to Singletary or Cook, and they're also using him in the like punt return game and stuff.
I had one NFT related question. So it seems like the Penguins, like a lot of these OGs are pretty high on the Penguins. Andy, what's your view on the Penguins? We had that 50 ETH sale. I just feel like, you know, Pellegrino's got rocking it now, and other people. What's your view on the Penguins?
Nothing meaningful. I think they'll probably. I like, apparently the new guy who's like running it, Luca or whatever, is a good dude and a smart guy. I don't really have that many strong opinions on PFP projects that aren't just the like the super blue chip. I think that they're generally just like kind of a worse like risk adjusted bet right now than just owning Ethereum or something like that. But I don't know. I think like one of my things I've been thinking about a lot with NFTs in particular is just like next cycle. I don't know who's going to buy your bags for the 5th best PFP project that exists versus wanting to mint the next Bored Apes, the Bored Apes of 2024 or something. And so I think like Punks and early art blocks, and I think even Bored Apes to a certain extent have some staying power where they're unique and they have like a story and provenance. But I don't know. I'm not super excited about other PFP projects for the most part.
I agree with you overall. Like, it's funny that you bring that up, Pete, because I was like literally looking at them the other day. And I was like, these things are like, I don't know. I feel like they are very well like entrenched in culture, like crypto Twitter culture, and like even despite the whole Cole like fiasco and witch hunt before, like they're just so like such a mainstay on crypto Twitter, and like for the price, like they're I don't know, they're pretty like solid, like, and they've held up super well. Like Dickbots are kind of similar, but like I just think they're more flash in the pan here and there. But like yeah, I was like thinking about picking up some Penguins the other day, like last night, literally, because I was like, these things have just held up incredibly well. Like people don't want to sell them. It's yeah, I don't know. But I do agree, like typically I'm not buying any PFPs right now other than like mints that I'm flipping because it's I just don't think they're going to be around long term. But I do like Penguins. I don't know.
Yeah, of all
Andy,
the projects that aren't like the super blue chips, I do like them.
does Allie still have her sombrero penguin?
I think I sold them.
Oh, wow. That was her Halloween costume. You rugged the Halloween costume. My God.
Yeah, it was Halloween last year. New things, you know?
All right, Andy, what do you want to do? You want to take advantage of Barkley slipping a spot here?
I mean, I guess I just am scared of the Cowboys defense. They're so fucking good.
We could take Lamb too. A little bounce back spot for Lamb.
Yeah. I feel better about Lamb than I do Barkley.
Yeah. Let's see. We could do. I'm down for. I mean, I think Dalvin or Amon-Ra. I mean, are definitely a little tier break here. I think after that.
Yeah. I don't have strong feelings between the two.
Let's go Amon-Ra here. Get a couple good wide receivers. Look at the bet. What's that, Pete?
I got Pollard and Lamb at the 6-7. It's a pretty fun start.
Oh my God, this tweet, Krutches.
So good.
Oh my God.
Chuckles, I'm in danger.
Jesus. Uh-oh. Get here. Bonesaw wants to know when you're going to talk, Jack.
Hello, everyone.
How was Mexico?
Mexico was great. I was fairly shocked by the no one speaks English there. At all. And my Spanish I learned in Barcelona when I was abroad is very, very limited. But Mexico City is fun. It was a little bullshit that they made it it was technically a Cardinals home game, and it was all Niners fans. Niners fans are every Mexican is a Niners fan. So that was it was genuinely louder than when we went to the Niners game in San Francisco. But the Azteca was cool. It was organized chaos. We had a good time, and then we watched the Mexico World Cup game today at a bar with a bunch of Mexico fans. So overall, good experience.
Was it just pouring? Did you get soaked, or were your seats underneath the ledge?
I bought good seats, and that was a regret because they were the stadium is almost like an open dome, I guess. So there's an outer ring, and then just the top is open, the top middle, and we were completely soaked. So that sucked, but it was fun. It was cool. I definitely favored Munich game over that one, but on to Indy.
Are you exhausted from all this travel, or are you still going?
I mean, I'm a little exhausted right now, but Thanksgiving in Florida, and then we'll be good to go. I mean,
Nice.
I'm definitely excited for it to come to an end. That would be that would be a nice, but I don't know. What do you guys think we should do? Because we'll be in Cincy Monday Night Football, which is BBM3's championship, right?
The week 17.
Yeah. So we were trying to plan what could we do, actually being on the ground there. So if anyone has any content ideas, let us know.
I know. It'll be curious to see what Underdog's able to pull together for a live leaderboard sweat.
Yeah. Does anyone have any sweat? I know the top two guys have crazy rosters, but is anyone in the top 500?
I was last week. I dropped down this week because my best team was like completely on bye, except for Mahomes and Kelsey. Jennings, do you have a team up there?
I was just going to check. I mean, last week was awesome for me from a return standpoint. I mean, I have like half my stuff with Kelsey because I got Kelsey like 85% of 3-mans. So it was a good week. I'll check real quick on the list, actually.
Yeah, I'm checking right now, too.
I've been in and out of the list.
I'm not close there. I've got a decent advance rate right now. My big one I've been tracking was the Mastiff. I'm actually in first in my group, which I'm very, very proud of. But
nice.
I have Pitts. I only went 2 tight end, and 1 was Pitts. So I have Fryermuth, and then I've got my running backs. It's just Pollard and Jamal. The rest are like Hines and Brees Hall. Like, I went 0 RB, and all the backup running backs ended up getting hurt.
Yeah, my best team. It's not. I don't think it's top 500, but one of its running backs is Brees Hall.
How many points?
My first 2 running backs taken, 415 or 1415.
Okay, yeah.
Not close.
Yeah, but no. My first 2 running backs taken are Brees Hall and AJ Dillon, which is not great.
Hey, at least AJ Dillon is participating in games.
Yeah, barely.
All right, so we talked about it weeks ago. So now we're through week 11. So 3 weeks left in the regular season. What are you putting the odds that someone in the top 500 wins the $1 million right now?
It's getting pretty high, I think.
Oh, it's super high. Like for the regular season award?
Yeah.
My
I
top
would say it's probably up to like,
which is outside.
Yeah, that's what I think. Mine is exactly that, Pete. Jack, I don't know. I would say right now it's probably like 90% that the winner is in the top. You take over 90%.
For sure.
It's pretty
we still have the wrinkle for me, Pete, is you still see a lot of fluctuation with the bye week stuff, a lot of movement there. And we still have a couple bye weeks. That would be the only thing that would not push me to over 90%.
All the people with like just outside top 500 with Sean Watson as their third QB are just like sweating it out right now. Like, come on, buddy, I need you to be ready.
So what would you give the 2 guys in first and second? And yes, Pete chose the teams. What would you give them their chances of winning? Because they do have like I think like a 35 point gap between third and fourth. Which obviously
yeah, I mean,
they're not shoo-ins, but like, would you put them at like 10% or still like less than that?
Less. I mean, this lineup specifically. I mean, like if this Fields injury stuff could be bad. Like they're being a little cagey with what's going on.
Well, I mean, he still has Josh Allen.
Allen and Jones.
What's that?
He still has Josh Allen in that team.
Yeah, but like the way, like the advancement gauntlet, guys, is so fucking brutal. Like if you have one game where Josh Allen puts up like 27 and it's the Mahomes week where he puts up 35, like most of those rosters like aren't getting through.
Yeah, I think it's fragile, like because he's also got like Jamal Williams and Tony Pollard. Like, what if Zeke and DeAndre Swift have big games in the same week or something? Like, it's over. I mean, he's got.
I don't know. I kind of show in Jamal for 2 touchdowns a week. So.
I mean, might as well.
Base projection.
It really has nothing to do with this specific roster, which is an absolute smash. I would do a lot of dirty things to have this roster. It's just more just like the gauntlet itself to get through is just. Yeah. It's you got to be perfect. Like you need the right guys at the right times, the right combos.
Even with like the regular season, if we're just talking that like prize, like it's like betting golf. It's like taking the field is just so like if they're all like within a shot or two, like it's just
right.
Unless it's prime Tiger, it's like I'm taking the field like most of the time.
The other thing you have to realize too is the best teams. Like this team at the top is going to self-select with the most league winners, essentially, right? And so then the pool of teams that advance is going to share the majority of players that this roster has too. And so then like the things that can help them separate from other teams in their pool, like is probably even going to be smaller. Like what's so sick about how this tournament is structured is I'd rather have teams that sneak in than a team that gets top 10 in the regular season.
I was just talking about them winning the regular season. Like I still agree with you that this team probably a very, very slim chance of winning the whole thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I still think it's a slim chance. Like I would take sub 10 for sure on that for regular season. Just because
has there been a single team that's held first place back-to-back weeks? I'm pretty sure it's been a new team in first every single week.
New team for sure.
I see Dink Piece in 31st. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dink. Shout out to ETR. You can get those rankings too. Have you guys used those at all? Those are super helpful.
For the
you guys are doing
drafts,
if you're doing all the stuff on Underdog, I think that those.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Quite good. Yeah.
Yeah. Herzig's streams have been pretty cool for those. Pete, you did a stream for Battle Royale last week, right?
Yeah, I did it with the Badge Bros on my channel. I'm starting to get excited. They have the one early playoff contest that's up, and then they'll get the bigger one up, I assume, probably here in a few weeks, which will be super fun.
Ball.
They do best ball for playoffs, right?
It is. Yeah, I completely agree with Jennings. It's the best game that they have.
It's like a futures fantasy game.
For the BBR drafts, like I did a few with D's like the week before they closed, just to try to get ahead of some of the market on some of them, and I got like a bunch of rosters with Fields. I remember him being a 194 ADP, like 18th, 17th round. It was like so sick. But like a bunch of those rosters, I have Breece Hall too, so they're like killing it. And then there's just like a dead Breece Hall. That's my first like running back, and I'm just like, this is so tilting, like just like absolutely crushing the rest of the 12 people in my league. But I have a Breece Hall, so I'm just dead.
It sucks. Breece, I miss you already.
Yeah, someone tweeted out like all the injuries this year, or like the current state of Mike Williams, Bateman, all of Hall. Like, is the healthiest team gonna win, or is it not gonna land that way? Like I look at some of my top teams and I'm missing 2 or 3 players. How big of a disadvantage is that?
Pretty big. Yeah. The contest is just so big that you really do have to be pretty perfect, and you need like every bullet in the chamber, especially if like, I guess it's one thing if you did like, 3 quarterback, 3 tight end builds and you have a hurt quarterback and a hurt tight end, it's like you can survive that. But if you do like fragile shit, you have 4 running backs and then you're down to 3 and 2 of them aren't elite, like you're probably in for some pain.
Yeah, I gambled. I need Cordero to get his rollback for BBR. I think I have like 40% of him. I just kept drafting as my 4th like running back, just as like 4 top tier running backs, like at like 114 ADP, and it was just like, and I'm done with 4 running backs here. So it'd be nice if you could come back.
When's is playoff best ball live? It is, right? Or like
that they have that too early one.
Yeah.
What's crazy though, like again, you think about how much stuff changes. Like at this time last year, we had yet to have the Amon-Ra St. Brown breakout. We had yet to have the Rashad Penny breakout. Mark Andrews was like performing solid, but like his smashes were like weeks 12 through 14, 15, and then vaulted everyone in or whatever. Like there's still so much that's like going to shake things up.
It's going to be out. Are you guys doing any of the survivors or pick and pools or any of that stuff?
The new ones for the playoffs and stuff, or
no? Just like, do you guys have any other like? It's fun if you're grinding throughout the year, and then like some of the sweats if you've survived, or if you're
all my survivors are dead in the water.
Yeah.
I don't have very much. I do have one fantasy team that I was like a decently heavy buy-in league that has some legs, which is fun. But I'm just so over regular fantasy football after this year. I think I might just be done with it.
I think I told some of my other league mates that are like into fantasy, like, because I have friends who are like, dynasty leagues and stuff. I'm cool with running; those are like long-term things. But like, I was like, you guys need to do like, I think it was the like my Avi, the Campai Pandas, like they did a league this year that was like a season-long DFS league. So you just pick like on FanDuel every week, one of those contests where it's like a season-long DFS league with new teams every week. I'm like, that's the way to do it, because it's like it takes as much time to throw a shitter roster together than it is to like do waivers and worry about that stuff. So it's like it's way more fun to just be like every week just DFS it up, but like have a season-long points total. I'm like, that's the way to go.
I'm in one of those. I completely agree. Although, Andy, I said the same thing preseason. Like, I'm not doing any fantasy, and then I was in 4 leagues. But I hate it. Like that's why I'm 2-8 in Sleeper Bowl, because I can't stand setting a lineup, grinding waivers. It's just not.
I have some issues with Sleeper Bowl. The rosters are just way too big.
Yeah, they would.
They're ridiculous. Everyone has 20 players on their roster.
Oh, you mean the Bash? The Bash?
Yeah.
Or the Bash.
Dude, my Bash team is so filthy.
Yeah,
and
I auto
it's because
drafted
I
mine.
got
My
20
team is
players.
trash. My team is so bad.
Oh man. Well, I went 0 RB, and then but then now I have Pollard emerging here, so things have started to break pretty well there.
Nice.
Krutches, appreciate you swinging by tonight, man. It was great to meet you, and it was awesome hearing about all of your boxing escapades. That shit sounded wild.
Yes, sir. We'll see if we do it again next year, but the market has to survive first. Crypto has to still be alive by then, so we'll see.
I don't want you feel free to say no. You don't have to dox yourself, but like, where are you based out of?
Oh yeah, no, it's cool. I'm in North Carolina. Okay. So yeah,
nice.
Yeah, vibing in the South here.
You golf at all?
I do. I'm a big golfer. Yeah, I was wanting to play. I played competitive for a while, but yeah.
When you say you play competitive, talk to me about that.
Oh, here we go.
I mean, like
high school, college, like play tournaments, amateur.
I mean, I had a weird route because I was in the Marines, but like I played for like the Marine Corps. Like they have like some golf tournaments sometimes, like the Marine Corps team and stuff. And then like when I got out, I was gonna play in college, and then like I got sick of the like super competitive stuff where you're like practicing putting for 4 hours a day and it's just like getting beat by 12-year-old Asian kids. Just not my cup of tea. So I like quit completely and played like JUCO football, and I was a converted wide receiver to punter. So I ended up just punting. So I don't have the head injuries, luckily. But yeah, so I still play golf for fun now, and I'll play like amateur tournaments here and there. But yeah, I mean, not as much, but I'm still like a 2.5 handicap, I think. You
keep an index and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played since I started like really ramping for the boxing fight, just because I didn't have time. But yeah. But I think when I was playing this summer, I was like a 2.1, I think I was. So
it sounds like you're better than a scratch at some point for sure.
Yeah, I've hovered around there. I don't think I was plus ever, but I was close to scratch most of the time.
Super impressive. Golf's so fun. Right. We got to get you guys into this down the road.
It's better than pickleball, that's for sure. You know, I'm a pickleball.
I don't know about that. I like both. Both are great.
I mean, I like playing golf, Pete, but you just got to take me to a nicer course. I mean, that place you took me to is basically a municipal course with a gate. You know, it's just hard for me to get the gates.
Hey, let's not hate. I'm a San Diego State alum, so I played a municipal course for years. It's called Torrey Pines. It has a gate. Pretty nice.
So there funny. You go. Yeah. But Krutches, you awesome having you on. We'll get you back in here in the saddle here soon. It'd be fun to chop it up with you again. Andy, anything else going on in your neck of the woods here? This might be the last club for a little bit. Maybe we could squeeze one in next week if the baby hasn't come yet. Otherwise,
I think I'll be at Art Basel probably.
Oh, you're gonna be at Art Basel next week. Yeah, you said that.
Andy. I remember 2021 Art Basel. It was a good time.
Yeah, I wasn't there for that, so I only go when it's fair market.
Well, you weren't there, so back when I had money, so
yeah, right. But yeah, otherwise not too much. I would say I'll show my bags for a second, but keep an eye out. We should have some pretty big things rolling out for Tessera in December, which will be fun.
Can you give
but yeah, otherwise
a general tease, like what type like product or?
Yeah, all product stuff. I can't say too much, or our marketing department, who's been working on stuff for a long time, will kill me. So I'm trying to be good for once. Now that we actually pay people to do that stuff, I can't just leak everything on random live streams.
Yeah, you don't want to end up in Top Shot territory here, you know?
No.
Pete, anything else on your end here?
No, just stoked for you, bud. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. What's the official due date at this point?
December 1st, so a week from thing.
Have you heard anything else from like the doctors or anything? Like, I mean, I assume you've had some appointments recently.
Yeah, no, everything's on track. Everything's good. I think they said if it's like a couple days after due date that they'll schedule it, just to do an induce. But yeah, no, we're doing good. Lauren's doing great. So got the nurseries all set. We're locked and loaded, ready to go here.
Love it. Yeah, Charlie, who you made the golf reference to, his wife was due on Sunday, and they're going to have to get induced on Wednesday, tomorrow. So
I remember when we played that, he said his wife was pregnant. I didn't realize they were on like the exact same timeline we are. That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, good luck, man.
Thanks, guys. Yeah. Lauren is incredibly chill, incredibly, relaxed. I don't think she is as relaxed as Ashley. I think it would be the end of me if I tried to fire up the live stream from the delivery room. So that's not in the cards, guys. All right. Appreciate you all. Hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Always great having you guys in the chat, hanging. We appreciate you. So for Krutches, thanks for swinging by. Andy, Pete, Jack, we will see you guys next time. Peace.